One family, one people, one planet, one love. One family, one people, one planet, one love. One family.
Good morning and welcome to SoulCall Sunday Live. Yeah, we are so thrilled to be live and in person here in Columbus, Ohio, and we welcome you wherever you are live streaming from. We're live streaming to you, wherever you're watching from all over the world. If you take a moment to let us know where you are watching from. It's always exciting to see the people we are in communion with, in community with, as we create our conscious global community worldwide. So thank you for being with us if you're with us right now. And if you're watching us later, thank you for tuning in later and sharing us with your friends on all your social media and forwarding us to people in the newsletter to other people and all that kind of stuff too. So here we are live and in person, and we're going into our fourth week being live and in person here in Columbus at American Institute of Integrative Medicine, AIAM, Alternative Medicine. I say integrative, but anyway, it's such a cool space. But what's so funny is the experience of being live and in person is fun because for the second week in a row, it's not like I'm keeping a tally or people are going to win things, but more people were on this side of the room than this side of the room. And I'm standing on this side of the room. So if I stand in the middle, maybe we'll see how that goes next week. But this morning, we're going to build on the theme we had from last week, which was the magic of the three days. What is the significance of the power of three? When we were celebrating, Easter, the body of the human man, Jesus, rises in 3 days. Why three? What is the power of that number? We assessed it to the layers of what it takes to be in human form, which is the physical form, the astral form, and the causal form. And so today I want to add on to that, and the talk today is called Break Down, Rebuild, the Internal Eternal. We're going to explore how we rebuild things once we break them down, how the body does it, how we do it in the astral realm, and then how we can call on the causal realm of cosmic consciousness, that infinite intelligence, pull it in through the life force in our cells and in our consciousness, how to rewire all the different parts of our body, and brain, and experience more of a vibrational dimensional reality than meets the physical senses. So it's not just transcending and hanging out there, but it's being able to transcend and be fully present in these beautiful human forms at the same time. So we're going to explore a little bit more about that today. But first, we like to begin with a practice of Qigong. And Qigong is it's a traditional Chinese medicine. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this later today and some stories that came into my consciousness in speaking with friends who are suffering with physical ailments, and how the practice of Qigong helps to rewire from that causal realm, the eternal internal, pulling it forth and allowing our cells to get the juice they need to rebuild themselves. So this is a place where we get to participate with that infinite consciousness and not just read about it or hear about it or say, oh yeah, I know what that is. It's like you know that you know what it is. So for those of you in the room today, find a space where you're comfortable and you have some space to practice Qigong. And this morning we're going to welcome Deborah Weisenberger-Lippitz to join us on video. And so practice this ancient medicine of Qigong. So find a space, and we're going to welcome Deborah Weisenberger-Lippitz.
Today, we are going to learn a very simple technique to open up the meridians and the energetic channels in our fingers and hands, because I know many of us have little arthritic areas. I do. So I need this. So you can help me with it. Please look forward, stretching the vision from inside the mind's home out through Yin Tang to merge with infinite space. Gather all the healing chi, love, good information, and pull it back through Yin Tang into the mind's home, and very gently close the eyes. Now, it's very easy to feel the mind shining deeply inwardly. Now, from there, place your attention to the top of the head, Ba Hui, and expand into infinite space. Gather all the healing chi and love and pour it down through the top of the head, Ba Hui, into the mind's home, and shining through all layers and tissues of the body, dropping down into the bubbling spring of each foot, and open up Yongshen to merge with earth chi all the way through to infinite space. Gather all the healing chi, love, and pull it up through the earth into our body. Now we are connected above and grounded from below. We are the chi in between and a part of all things, uniting us together, heart to heart and mind to mind as one. Now please, very gently, bring the hands in front of the body, palms facing outward, and simply stretch the fingers apart as much as you can. Then very quickly close into a fist. Then open, stretching, close. Open, stretching, close. Open, stretching, close. And one more time. Open, stretching, close. Now gently bring the hands on top of the navel and nourish chi. Feel the warmth of the hands as the chi moves through from the tips of the fingers all the way up the arms. Nurturing chi. Keeping the mind's consciousness inside, relax the hands to both sides. Gently open the eyes, smiling from the inside out, and give thanks to our chi field always within us, around us, and about us, and to ourselves. Thank you.
Doesn't that just feel good? Yeah. And you feel the tingles? So I don't know, the prestidigitation or the, we call that the Venus flytrap chi. I don't know. It's, thank you, Deborah. It's always such a joy. And now, in speaking with, last week we were talking about staying awake. Once we are on to the thing that is the eternal internal, how we keep that in our consciousness. And so just taking this into feeling that chi being alive in our bodies, we're going to close our eyes and lift our gaze to the point between the eyebrows, the third eye region, that infinite intelligence. Breathing in peace, exhale love. Breathing in light, and exhale peace. And allow yourself to enjoy this song called Don't Go Back to Sleep.
Sit with your friends. Don't go back to sleep. Night travelers are full of light, blessed by the company they keep. Be watchful when the moon is full. The moon appears travelers at night. This yearning's our way. Night searches for our signs. Spirit can, without delay, save us from the whirlpool of time. Be a wakeful candle in a golden dish. Weep as you melt, offering your sit with your friends, don't go back to sleep. This yearning's our way, don't go back to sleep. Weep as you melt, don't go back to sleep. Don't go back, don't go back, don't go back. Don't sink like a fish to the bottom of the sea.
I want to sing, surge like an ocean, don't go back to sleep. I'm not quite sure why that video cuts out in the middle, but that was the gist of it, is don't go back to sleep. So how do we stay awake with all that we have access to in human form? Like, why incarnate in the first place if it's going to be such a bad ride? It's really not. It's that we forget, or we've never been reminded of how powerful we are and what we have access to at all times. So my invitation for you this week is to stay woke. Don't go back to sleep, as Rumi would say. And you know, Rumi had over 13,000 quatrains of poetry. And if you could distill them all into 2 words, it would be wake up. That's it. So this morning we're gonna examine how the body's intelligence knows how to rewire and regenerate certain things. So you all heard of stem cells, regenerative cells. In our body, to make sure we can stay incarnate long enough, there are certain things that multiply rapidly reproducing cells. Our skin does it. Have you ever had a paper cut? Like, you don't have to think about doing anything. The body just kind of regenerates itself. So some parts of our body have more of these cells than others. Our liver is another one that regenerates cells without us doing anything about it at all. And so it's interesting when we think about these building blocks of life. It happens in nature. You can see trees. We clip a tree and it grows. Some creatures on the planet can regrow limbs. Why can't we do that? Can we do that? Up until recently, so there are other organs too, like our livers can regenerate. I'm trying to figure out, yeah, the intestines, that was the really good example. So I know some people in this room either have experienced it themselves or have been with somebody who's undergone treatment with chemotherapy. So we started to realize our hair is rapidly reproducing cells. So when you do chemotherapy, if you ever have to, and I hope you never do, anything that is a rapidly reproducing cell, like a cancer cell, gets wiped out at the same time the cancer cells do. The lining of our intestines would get wiped out. So in between treatments, you try to do things to rebuild your gut health, but the body just knows how to keep regrouping. Why is that important? If you ever had food poisoning, and I hope you never had, That's one way the body's automatic response is to know how to fix itself. Otherwise, all the little things that were going wrong with our bodies are like a paper cut. You might bleed out from a paper cut. So there are things that are physically in place that we don't have to think about. Our body just knows how to do it. Up until very recently, science thought that the brain didn't have the capacity to regenerate itself with these cells. And they found, in fact, it can, but it has fewer of these cells. So they think. I'm not down with that. I really don't. Like, if you start practicing Qigong and bringing light to stimulate those cells in your being, just watch what happens. For example, I was speaking with a friend the other day who had a stroke, and she has exhausted what physical therapy can do, occupational therapy, to try to regenerate the part of her brain that was damaged during the stroke. It was just like, stroke is like a jolt. It's kind of like blowing out a socket, blowing out, just a charge, a surge, what blows out circuitry. My question to her, and we got into a very spiritual discussion about it because it was a spiritual mentor relationship. What about the idea that it's trying to blow out a bridge of thought so that it can rebuild another way? What if the regenerative state and quality of this experience for you is to start approaching life with different thoughts, with more of your heart? This is a person who's extremely intelligent and was used to approaching life with thoughts. Brilliant woman. And she's getting that that's what it's certainly what it's about. Well, what's happening is the more she starts doing Qigong practices where she is consciously placing her attention on bringing in light, things are starting to shift. Have you ever had this experience? Maybe you got into a meditation practice, or maybe you started Tai Chi, something where you have to participate and learn what you're capable of. I'm not sure about you, but I know during the pandemic, without all the travel that I'm used to doing and retreats and things like this internationally, I was home a lot more. I've watched more television in the last 2 years, movies, than I think I've watched in the last 25 combined. Not a good thing, not a bad thing, but I just realized there's a lot of crap out there. A lot, like, oh my God. And the stuff that gets on, all the little, how much TikTok do we watch? How much Facebook do you scroll? It's never ending. It's not like, I think I'm old school. Sometimes I still like to read the newspaper because I know when I'm done. It's done. It's not endless with this capacity. We like to finish things as human beings. We like to bring things to completion. And without that, we're kind of kept dangling on the hook of consciousness somebody else created for us. You're laughing because, right? Yeah. So I'm not saying we should all start buying paper newspapers again or anything like that, but just pay attention. See where your little time sucks are and how much more useful we could be participating in conjunction with that eternal internal, that place that knows how to fix our bodies so we could be here longer without getting taken out from these little things. When I was a little kid, I tell this story to my friends. I was playing in the backyard. Did you ever get cut on a blade of grass? Mm-hmm. I wanted to pick it because I felt like it was making a sound, and I wanted to put it closer to my ear to see what it would do to my head. And when I went to pick it, it was really sharp, and I sliced my little finger, and it started to bleed. But something inside me, I was in this place where I was able to hear this blade of grass, and I knew that it had a vibration. I was pitched in a different place. When I looked at my finger, I just made it shh. I didn't want it to bleed because I wanted to play, and I didn't want to have to go inside. And it just healed in seconds. It stopped bleeding, and there was no scar. There's nothing. We can all do this. It's not magical, mystical. It's just I was allowing myself to be as wide as the sky at all times. I did not like coming inside. Did you ever have the experience playing outside or being outside? Think back when you were younger and try to remember, bring it back, regenerate your consciousness with the knowing, yeah, we could do these things. It was teased out of us somewhere so that other people's creations, thoughts, and ideas could supersede your own for commerce, right? And some of it's really, really valuable. Like I'm really glad I mowed my lawn this past weekend. I'm glad somebody invented a lawnmower that kind of go like that. Remember those? You know, it's really fun to mow the lawn. So creation is wonderful, but what are you here to create? Is more the question. We participate, we're most lit up and vibrant when we are participating as our piece of the creative spark. I weeded my garden last year. Jean gave me, I'm really horrible with succulents. She's going to bring some more. What are they called? Chicken and hens? Chicken and hens. I overwater. I'm Italian. I overwater. I overfeed everything. I drowned them last year in water, not so much love. I thought they wanted more. They always looked, I was watering everybody else and I felt bad for them. So they didn't make it. So I'm going to try again. It's just like my head's tingling. It's really funny, but you know, but as I was weeding, there were certain things that don't belong in that garden with other things, like my daffodils, and I've got other things growing in there. I don't call them weeds anymore because Ashton, our herbalist, is sitting here, and I know they've got medicinal qualities, so I might set them aside, but they will tangle up the other things that I would like to have there. So there's going to be a space for that, you know. But what do we do that our place in consciousness? How do we untangle the thoughts that are just trying to strangle out the things we would most like to have growing in our consciousness? And how do we use mind to shift things? How do we use applying our consciousness to this? So we've got the physical world taken care of for the most part. Our bodies know how to, with just a little bit of help, our body's cells idle on wellness. It is just in there. We just do a little bit of this and it does the rest of it. Like some of the other things I'd like to water. My Dracaena plants, those cornstalk plants, they're like radioactive in my house. They're all over the place. I have shoots all over. So that's easy. So start with something easy that you would like to accomplish and bring to fruition. Start thinking about it and start preparing the body for it. So like wherever we place our consciousness, whether we're aware of it or not, things grow. So I started thinking about the unconscious consumption of television. Then I started to think about the unconscious, you know, consumption of food. When we're conscious about what we're eating, we don't gain as much weight. It's just a fact. But when we are unconsciously eating fast, it tells the cells in the body that we're starving or there's not going to be enough. And so it stores it for us. It's doing what it's programmed to do. So this is where we have to participate. This astral, physical, causal situation. It's always body, mind, spirit. It's always doing this thing. Are we in alignment or not? And if one place is out, we can see how it's showing up for us. During the pandemic, I probably gained 7 pounds, easy. And I was really eating. Like I eat a lot anyway, but I wasn't moving around as much. And it just tasted good. It was something that satisfied me. But then there's the race consciousness, the stuff that's going on around us that tells us to be afraid. Something's happening. This might be the end for you. This might be curtains. If you're not focused on your own consciousness and what's coming in and what's going out, we can fall prey to these other thoughts and ideas without being aware of it. So till the soil of your own consciousness. Find out, you be the gatekeeper. What comes in, what goes out, or who gets thrown out and who gets permitted to come in to play in the field of mind, consciousness, the eternal, external, internal, that whole system. So working on the astral realm, everybody's familiar with chakras, these wheels of color in our bodies, which also resonate to the frequency of sound. So music, that's why if I go, boom, you'll feel it down here. But if I go, boom, you'll feel it up here. It just because we are wired for sound and light. It's no mistake that we feel those. So when you get on a ride, if you hear a wonderful symphony or the music we play here at SoulCall, or your favorite bands make you feel something, it's all because music resonates with our body. So that's the astral realm. How can we bring the body in? to balance using, the astral realm to help fill in and inform the physical body. Beautiful music that's harmonious. Colors, just taking a walk in nature, being in the sunlight, vitamin D, all the colors of the spectrum. Just take a sun bath, even if it's 20 minutes. If you need to put something on your skin, do it. But just be out in the sun, and it kind of tunes us. It tunes us up. Then there's the causal realm. And this is where meditation comes in, and Qigong practices. It's getting inside to know that you've got the connection to that thing that you could bring forth to fill in whatever it needs to be. So the regenerative cells are kind of like vitamin C is considered the triage vitamin for the body. It can fill in almost, not all of them, but almost anywhere else. If you take 1,000 milligram vitamin C per day, it's going to help a lot of the other cells that might be needing a little boost. It's kind of like the triage. Meditation and allowing yourself to go deep into the reset and bringing forth light fills in all the colors of the astral in the body, which informs all of the organs, all of the blood cells, white cells, red cells, thoughttrons, lifetrons, all of that connect us to our causal body and to the infinite. And I do this because as the deeper we go in, the further we expand. But it's a simultaneous occurrence. It's not a cause and effect like we are here. So it's like the body is divinely programmed to heal itself. The astral appreciates and participates with the cosmic sound and light. So this is what I call the internal eternal. It's the thing that goes on, and it never runs out. This past week, I was doing a meditation, a mindfulness practice with a group of engineers, and we did a joy bubble meditation where they just placed a joy bubble, paraphrasing, right in the center of their heart. And with each inhalation, they would grow this bubble of joy. And after it got to a certain point, I asked them to now, with the next inhalation, grow the bubble of joy, but then also allow it to pulsate with white, vibrant light. And the more we did this, the more people would realize, after we came back and started to ask questions about it, you can't run out of light and you can't run out of love. The more you send it, you don't feel like I don't have any more. You just keep coming forth with more. Or light. If I send light and light and light and light, if I get it from the cosmic source and offer it, the cosmic source and offer it, it's inexhaustible. So this is how our new way of maneuvering in the world is connecting the eternal internal, bringing it to the external, which is all things at all times. I was thinking the other day about how we get out of space and time when we're doing things like this, when we're operating, like out of space and time when I cut my finger. It's baseball season. It's no mistake. And it's no secret that one of my favorite baseball players of all time is the great Roberto Clemente, one of the Pittsburgh Pirates. And if you watch people like that play, he was in an elevated state of consciousness all the time. But he would have this way of, and I know Phil Ashley's watching this, so Phil, this is your baseball analogy for the day. He could catch a ball in the corner of deep right field and turn around, and he knew where he was on the field at all times. He knew where his body was in relationship to his surroundings, but his consciousness was on outside of that. Caught the ball, and he would just turn and throw from the furthest point to third base as the runner was tagging up on second. If the fly balls hit, you have to go back to second base and wait for the person to catch the ball. Then you could run the distance of 90 feet, 60 feet to the bag. So he was able to throw the ball 290 some feet faster than a runner was running 60. And on a fly ball, catch the ball and tag, the runner would be tagged out. That defies time-space. It's like you're watching the ball, 1 minute it's here, and the next second it's just there, but you didn't see it travel through space and time either. Can you get what I'm saying? It's not that these people are special. they just practice being in tune, and they never let themselves forget that they were. It's out of mind at that point. You're out of your mind, but you're tapped into the internal eternal. And that's how these things operate. So where can you start to break down to rebuild? What needs to be broken down in your mind, in your consciousness, thoughts? Like blow out the bridge. Imagine yourself blowing out the bridge of this thought, this connection. If the brain had a challenge, it would have to rewire anyway. Let's just do it consciously. Don't wait for a stroke. Do it yourself. What is it that you want to let go of and regrow, reorganize? I know when Ediga was going through her first round of cancer, at the time she was given a 3% chance of surviving that. And where our room was, our bedroom in California, she could lie in the bed and look out the window. And across the street, something interesting was happening. They were dismantling the house. They weren't blowing it up. They were taking it down piece by piece. Think about deconstructing your thoughts piece by piece. So they were evaluating what they already had. They were going to take it all down and rebuild it as something different, as she was doing with her body and her mind. The thoughts she had before were not going to serve this challenge. She had to be more heart forward. And she would tell you that if she were standing right here today. She led a lot from her heart, but mostly from her intellect. She could have you right where she wants you in 2 seconds. And any of you that met Ediga, you knew she had you right in the palm of her heart instantly. Because she loved you, but also because she wanted to give you, but not receive as much. She wanted to give. But this time she needed to learn how to receive. Anybody need to learn how to receive? Yeah. At this group, especially, we're soul callers. So we know we like to give, we like to share a conscious global community, but it's that confluence of being able to receive and give and receive and receive from others, which is also cosmic consciousness, and receive from pure source itself. Well, what she was doing, they were tearing this house. They took it down piece by piece, down to the cement and the foundation. And that was it. Nothing else was there. Nothing. And then they were about to have a baby is what this was all about. So they were inviting new life to come into their home. And they were making room for this new life, this new creation, this divine third, if you will. And piece by piece, next thing you know, the wood frames start going up. And then you can imagine all the rest of it, insulation. But the house was configured differently when it was finished, of course, because there was more room. But one of the most important things that she and I both got is we were watching this break down and rebuild, as she was breaking down or rebuilding, as I was breaking down and rebuilding. I was becoming somebody very different too. But hers was profound. It was like body, mind, and spirit, all of it. What was interesting about the house across the street was the front door, the entry into the house, was completely in a different place. And I thought, that is so interesting. Where can we, because they reconfigured it completely, these thoughts don't come through this way anymore. The door is no longer there. I've moved the door. And now the only thoughts that enter are the thoughts of love, new ideas that come straight from source, like this little infant that was going to be born that comes straight from source. Something else the body knows how to do is to feed and nourish another tiny human to bring life force onto the planet in a particular way so it can play and live and have its being as its divine self. So where can you break down the house and rebuild with a door in a different place? This door is closed. I don't do that anymore. Yeah, that's not my, oh yeah, I'm not a smoker anymore, but thanks. No, I don't. I'm going to spend my time. No, I'm not interested in watching. I don't even know. You name it. I thought it was funny the other day. I was thinking about when I was a child, a long, long time ago. There were 4 channels, and I can't say it was quality programming all the time, but it was vetted and it was very specific to a certain thing. Now, Those channels have most of the not so great stuff on, and we pay for all the other things, and we're paying for it. We're paying for these things. Use some of that to inspire your own creativity, no matter what it is. It just find something that you can do with your mind, body, spirit that makes you realize and remind you that you are a slice of the infinite love with the potential of infinity. And it's just about the joy. And whatever it is, don't do anything for the money. Money is very important. Do it because you love it. And watch the money just flow right in. Money is energy. Do what you love and watch the doors of infinity just say, yes, 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 more, 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 more. I think like that consciousness, in the body, if we are eating really fast or we're feeling clutchy, it's funny that we're doing this today. We store fat cells when we feel like we need to keep eating and eating. And that's not always the only reason, but I'm just saying like there's a click that the body wants to do. If you try to starve yourself, most people hold on to more weight because the consciousness just knows, oh my God, I think we're starving. Same thing with money. If we clutch or we think there's not enough and we're greedy about it, you'll never, even if you get what you want, even if you make the number you think you wanted to make and you have everything around you, it will never be enough. Because that part of you that is the divine one, the internal, eternal, is not satiated. So allow yourselves to lean toward the good. Lean toward the good as you rebuild. The lyrics of this next song, Leaning Toward the Good, Erika wrote this after that journey when she realized she was going to make it, and she did. That whole walking a tightrope, I'm too young to be old, meaning I'm too young to have habitual pattern thinking framed the rest of my life. I'm going to tear that down. And too old not to know that I'm here for the adventure, to live fully and be bold. So my wish for you is to lean toward the good. Remember to break down the things that need to be broken down and rebuild them using the cosmic force. It's indomitable. You'll always reign supreme and victorious if you remember the internal, eternal, and carry this love life after life after life in infinite love. Namaste. So let's listen to Leaning Toward the Good.
Walking a tightrope over stormy seas below. Their toes on open wire stretched from cliffs of stone. The pull and the tug of forces still not understood. I am leaning toward the good. I'm leaning toward the good. I lay down my armor and I set down my shield. The only way across is unguarded and revealed. Each step takes me further than I ever thought I could. I'm leaning toward the good. I'm leaning toward the good. I'm too young to be old and too old not to know that I'm here for the adventure, to live fully and be bold, to find wisdom in the silence, be the silence in the fire, finding beauty in the chaos as I move across the high wire. What is lost, what is gained? Will I live my life asleep or awake? Walking a tightrope over stormy seas below, their toes on open wire stretched from cliffs of stone. The pull and the tug of forces still not understood. I am leaning toward the good. I'm leaning toward the good. I lay down my armor and I set down my shield. The only way across is unguarded and revealed. Each step takes me further than I ever thought I could. I'm leaning toward the good. I'm leaning toward the good. I'm too young to be old and too old not to know that I'm here for the adventure, to live fully and be bold, to find wisdom in the silence, be the silence in the fire, finding beauty in the chaos as I move.
Okay. That was the planned one. You just get to well, welcome back, everybody. So there is an example of a good version of habitual pattern thinking. That's something you can just keep on thinking and thinking and thinking. You know, I remember when I was first starting to study with Paramahansa Yogananda's teachings. You've heard stories about how I used to dream about him when I was little. But to help rewire the brain, I don't like to say things without offering you an opportunity to grab something and practice it. This little book, Scientific Healing Affirmations, is such a fabulous retrain. You'll see a lot of New Thought people who came after him take a lot of this and rework it in their own words. I do it all the time. Rework it in your own words, like something that sparks you. But this one, and then joining us on Monday evening from 8 to 9. Every Monday we do a meditation. We start with an affirmation, some chanting, which we're going to be doing here eventually. And then we go into deep silence, just following the consciousness. So I think, Aiden, you had that visual up. There it is, SoulCall. Monday meditations for peace, for inner peace. And this week, Natalia Zuckerman's going to lead the meditation on Monday from 8 to 9. So tune in. You can get the link. If you have a link already, you're going to need to get a new link. So be sure to go to soulcallglobal.org and re-register for the new link that'll take us through next year. So get the new link. And we thank you for joining us this morning. And wherever you are, I see Luke is here from Canada, and we've got Joy, and I see you and you and you. Thank you so much for joining us. Share us with your friends. We appreciate our conscious global community growing and growing and bringing more people here. When you come here, you get sweets afterwards and coffee and beautiful conversation. And we're going to be planning projects around the area too. So if there's something you're passionate about with regard to the environment, herbs, and things like this, we're going to be doing a whole bunch of different things coming up throughout the summer. So come and join us. And we thank you for your contributions. You know, running SoulCall Global and doing SoulCall Live every Sunday, we use those funds to make sure that the people who work with us get paid. So I thank you for those contributions. And we also are helping people in the community. I think I mentioned our food drives. We probably handed out close to 10,000 pounds of food in our 2 years, and we're just getting started. So that and creating this consciousness, if you think that your own meditations and changing, like when you inhale peace and exhale light, sometimes that's the best we can do to help people who are suffering around us. So when you're standing in line, practicing the presence is a good way to offer. But we accept the contributions to SoulCall. We are a 501c3, so if you're looking to get rid of money and for a write-off, thanks. That energy, we will redirect it consciously to help others spark their consciousness and creativity as well. So also, if you are in need of prayer, our prayer team is there for you, and you could send an email to prayers@soulcallglobal.org, and our prayer team's connected to the healing team, and they help send Qigong light, healing light. They send Reiki light. We just direct love and healing light to you if you are in need of healing. So be sure to reach out. And I am also available for spiritual mentorship and counseling. I've been asked this repeatedly, and I'm starting to meet one-on-one with people. So there's an info@soulcallglobal.org. Will get right to me. info@soulcallglobal.org. I'm happy to help play in the cosmic realm with you and spark that divine spark. Next week, I think, is the first Monday of the month, and Natalia does Monday meditations at 5:00. So look for that coming up. And also our book, Signs and Symbols of Our Ancestors, is doing very well. Armature Publishing, we started that. armaturepublishing.com. You can get your copy of Signs and Symbols of Our Ancestors, 25 sacred stories of experiences with people who have transitioned out into the wider realms where you don't need a body, but you can still communicate through the invisible wire of love. And maybe help yourself to that, or someone who might be grieving in need of hope and inspiration. So I thank you once again for joining us this morning. And I just want to say how great it feels to be in person here. And each week, different people come and more people come, and we're growing, and we're so grateful that we get to participate this way in a conscious global community. And remember, wherever you are loved. Peace and blessings.
One family, one people, one planet, one love.